Ladies and gentlemen, every great life begins with a decision, a single moment when you choose not to settle for mediocrity. Jim Rohn taught us that success isn't just about talent, luck, or even opportunity. It's about shaping your philosophy, the way you think about life, and how you respond to challenges. Imagine millions of people feeling stuck, thinking their circumstances define them, and then discovering that the real power lies in their daily habits, in the discipline they cultivate, and in the mindset they adopt. What if the difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary life is simply the wisdom we apply from someone who has walked the path and distilled it into simple, actionable truths? Most people chase results without understanding the roots of success, and Jim Rohn's advice shows us that we often overlook the invisible foundations that make achievement inevitable. It's about sowing seeds today that will bloom tomorrow. Think about the impact of reading, learning, and investing in yourself, not because it's easy, but because it transforms your capacity to face the world. Millions of lives were touched because he simplified success, teaching that it's not about doing everything at once, but about mastering small, consistent steps that compound into remarkable results. People felt inspired not because of flashy tricks, but because of timeless truths that work quietly and powerfully. Life is a reflection of what you become, and Jim Rohn challenged people to take responsibility for their destiny, rather than waiting for circumstances to change. The real magic happens when someone understands that their mindset dictates the quality of their life, and that no external force can control their inner world. This advice resonated with 20 million people because it awakens a sense of personal power and possibility that had been buried under excuses, distractions, and fear. Imagine the ripple effect when someone finally realizes that transformation starts internally, that discipline breeds freedom, and that your future is crafted by the decisions you make consistently today. Every great life begins with a decision, a single moment when a person decides that enough, that mediocrity is no longer acceptable, and that they are ready to take responsibility for their own future. Jim Rohn often said that success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. Imagine standing at the crossroads of your life, where every choice matters, yet most people walk through life unaware that their daily decisions, their thoughts, and even the company they keep are quietly shaping their destiny. Millions of people around the world feel trapped in circumstances that seem unfair or unchangeable, believing that their environment defines them. But Jim's teachings remind us that the power to change lies not in external events, but in our own philosophy, in the way we view ourselves, and in the habits we commit to each day. He taught that philosophy isn't some abstract idea, it's practical. It's the lens through which we see the world, the inner blueprint that dictates how we respond when life throws challenges our way. If you wake up each morning and allow negativity, excuses, or fear to dominate your thoughts, you are programming your day and ultimately your life for defeat. But if you choose to feed your mind with knowledge, with courage, with determination, and with the stories of people who have achieved more than you ever imagined possible, you are actively designing a life of growth, purpose, and abundance. Millions of people resonated with this truth because it was simple yet revolutionary. You do not have to be a victim of your circumstances, and you can cultivate the strength, wisdom, and resilience to rise above them. The beauty of Jim Rohn's advice is that it is both profound and practical. He didn't rely on motivational fluff or empty promises of instant success. He gave people real, actionable principles. He taught that wealth, happiness, and fulfillment do not arrive magically. They are the natural result of disciplined effort, smart decisions, and an unwavering commitment to self-improvement. Imagine someone who feels stuck in a job they hate, a relationship that drains them, or a life that seems to be moving without purpose. The moment they hear that their future is a reflection of their daily actions and thoughts, something shifts inside. Suddenly, the blame is no longer on the boss, the economy, or the circumstances. They realize that they are the captain of their own ship. That realization is not just empowering, it's transformative. Millions felt this awakening because it is a truth that transcends culture, background, and age. Jim also emphasized the power of habits. He believed that success is the result of consistent, disciplined behavior over time, not sporadic bursts of effort. Most people underestimate the compounding effect of small daily actions. Reading, listening, learning, and improving a little each day may seem insignificant in the moment, but over months and years, these small actions multiply into extraordinary outcomes. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You water them, give them sunlight, and patiently wait. Over time, those seeds grow into trees that bear fruits beyond what you could have imagined. Millions were inspired because this principle is simple yet entirely within everyone's control. Unlike luck or chance, your philosophy and habits are yours to choose, shape, and refine. Another element of Jim Rohn's wisdom that touched so many lives is the idea that challenges are opportunities in disguise. Life will never be free of obstacles, disappointments, or failures, but he taught that our response to these challenges defines our trajectory far more than the challenges themselves. Every setback, every failure, every moment of difficulty is a chance to grow, to learn, and to build character. Millions of people discovered hope in these words because they offered a roadmap to turn adversity into advantage. Instead of feeling defeated, they learned to analyze, adapt, and take action. They learned to cultivate patience, persistence, and a long-term perspective, understanding that real success is rarely immediate but always achievable with consistent effort and a strong mindset. The reason this advice touched 20 million people is that it speaks to a universal desire to live a life of meaning, freedom, and achievement. Everyone wants more than a life of mediocrity, yet most people do not realize that the power to change is already in their hands. Jim Rohn distilled the secrets of success into principles that anyone could understand and apply, regardless of their starting point. It's about thinking clearly, acting deliberately, and committing to lifelong growth. It's about realizing that success is not an external reward, but an internal transformation. That the person you become in pursuit of your goals is far more important than the goals themselves. Millions of people were touched because his words did not just inspire. They challenged, motivated, and empowered them to take control of their lives and their futures. In essence, the journey to an extraordinary life begins with a single choice: to stop blaming circumstances, to stop waiting for external conditions to change, and to start building the inner foundation for success. It begins with philosophy, with daily habits, with a mindset that refuses to accept limitations. And it's in this choice, in this daily commitment to personal growth, that millions discovered the key to living a life far beyond what they once imagined possible. Most people chase results without understanding the roots of success, and this is where Jim Rohn's wisdom truly changes lives. He taught that success is not an event, a lottery ticket, or something that comes overnight. It is the natural outcome of planting seeds, nurturing them, and patiently allowing time to turn small actions into monumental results. Imagine the thousands of people who feel frustrated because they have tried countless strategies, hacks, and shortcuts only to see little progress. Jim Rohn showed that the invisible foundations, the daily routines, the mindset, and the principles we adopt are far more powerful than any external tactic. Millions of people discovered that once they focused on improving themselves first, results started to follow effortlessly, almost as if success had been waiting for them to be ready. He often used the analogy of sowing and reaping, emphasizing that you cannot plant corn and harvest oranges, and that the quality of your seeds determines the quality of your harvest. In life, seeds are the habits you form, the knowledge you acquire, and the discipline you practice. Millions were inspired because they realized that investing in themselves, through reading, learning, reflection, and skill building, was not optional if they wanted to achieve extraordinary results. It is not the flashy shortcuts that create lasting success, but the small, consistent actions that compound over time. A single book read, a single idea applied, or a single positive choice made daily can accumulate into massive transformation over months and years. This principle of compounding growth is so simple yet so powerful that it became a turning point for countless people who had previously been seeking instant gratification. Another critical insight that resonated with millions is that personal development precedes professional development. Jim Rohn argued that if you want to earn more, influence more, or achieve more, you must first become more. It is impossible to give what you do not possess, and the world rewards those who cultivate themselves, who expand their skills, and who strengthen their character. Imagine someone who complains about their income but refuses to improve their knowledge or abilities. Their results will remain limited because they are not ready to receive more. But when they shift focus to personal growth, learning new skills, developing emotional intelligence, and improving their communication, they suddenly find opportunities opening up that were previously invisible. This is why millions of people felt inspired. Jim Rohn simplified success into a sequence they could control. Grow yourself, and everything else grows with you. Jim also stressed the power of consistency and patience, two qualities often undervalued in a world obsessed with instant results. Millions of people were touched by the reminder that small efforts, repeated daily, produce extraordinary results. Success is like a tree. You water it, give it sunlight, and wait. The visible rewards may take months or even years to appear, but those who remain patient, disciplined, and focused will eventually reap a harvest far greater than they imagined. He reminded people that it is not about doing everything at once or forcing results overnight, but about mastering the art of steady, deliberate progress. Every small action, every incremental improvement, every decision to stick to your principles compounds and eventually creates momentum that is unstoppable. This is a lesson that changed the trajectory of millions of lives, helping ordinary people achieve extraordinary outcomes. He also emphasized the importance of the people you surround yourself with. Millions were inspired because they realized that success is contagious, but so is mediocrity. The company you keep, the conversations you engage in, and the values of those around you silently influence your thoughts and actions. Jim Rohn taught that if you want to rise, you must seek out mentors, peers, and environments that uplift, challenge, and inspire you. He demonstrated that personal growth is not a solitary journey, but a community-driven process. People who previously felt isolated or unsupported discovered that surrounding themselves with growth-minded individuals accelerated their progress and amplified the results of their efforts. Another aspect that resonated with millions is his insistence on responsibility. Success is rarely about luck. It's about taking ownership of your life. Jim Rohn encouraged people to stop blaming circumstances, other people, or fate, and instead focus on what they could control. He taught that by accepting full responsibility for your thoughts, actions, and decisions, you reclaim the power to shape your future. This advice struck a chord because it was liberating. People realized that their destiny was not predetermined, that they could rewrite their story, and that by cultivating the right habits, mindset, and relationships, they could transform every area of their lives. Jim Rohn also made success feel achievable because he broke it down into principles that anyone could understand and apply. It wasn't about genius, extraordinary talent, or being in the right place at the right time. It was about small, smart, consistent actions applied with discipline and a long-term perspective. Millions of people were touched because his wisdom made success practical, tangible, and within reach. The magic was not in luck or shortcuts, but in understanding and applying the fundamental laws of personal growth and achievement. His teachings reminded people that their efforts mattered, their choices mattered, and their growth was entirely in their hands. In essence, this advice changed millions of lives because it revealed that success is built from the inside out. It is cultivated quietly through daily action, nurtured through learning and self-improvement, and amplified by the people and environments that surround us. Those who embraced these truths discovered that they could achieve more than they ever imagined, not by chasing results blindly, but by investing in the invisible foundations that ultimately determine everything. The clarity, simplicity, and practicality of these principles empowered people across the globe to take control, to grow consistently, and to turn ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. Life is a reflection of what you become, and this is a principle that Jim Rohn emphasized repeatedly. He reminded millions of people that circumstances alone do not shape destiny. It is the person you are inside, the beliefs you hold, the habits you form, and the choices you make that ultimately determines the quality of your life. So many people feel powerless because they focus on what is happening around them rather than on what is happening within them. They complain about their job, their finances, their relationships, and yet fail to realize that the power to transform all of these lies within their own mind and actions. Jim Rohn challenged people to look inward, To understand that no external force has as much control over their future as their own philosophy, mindset, and consistent effort. Millions were touched because this truth is both liberating and empowering. It shifts the narrative from victimhood to personal responsibility, from hopelessness to potential. One of the most profound lessons he shared was that transformation begins with self-discipline. Freedom does not come from avoiding responsibility. It comes from embracing it. Millions of people were inspired when they realized that by controlling themselves, their impulses, their habits, and their daily decisions, they could unlock opportunities that previously seemed impossible. Discipline allows you to focus on what matters most, to persist through challenges, and to take consistent action even when motivation wanes. This is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Rohn's words made people understand that self-discipline is not restrictive. Rather, it is liberating, providing the structure and control necessary to create a life of abundance, fulfillment, and impact. Another principle that resonated with millions is that the future is crafted by the decisions you make consistently today. People often delay taking responsibility for change, thinking they will start tomorrow, next month, or next year. But Jim Rohn emphasized that waiting is the thief of progress. Every small choice, whether it is to read, to learn, to invest in yourself, or to practice gratitude, compounds over time and shapes your destiny in ways that are often invisible in the short term. Millions of people were touched because this principle made success feel within reach. It revealed that ordinary people, through intentional action and thoughtful decisions, could create extraordinary lives. Success is not an accident. It is a process, a journey, and a reflection of who you choose to become each day. Jim Rohn also taught that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, and the environments you inhabit silently influence your mindset, habits, and results. Millions were inspired when they realized that surrounding themselves with mentors, peers, and communities that embody growth, positivity, and ambition could accelerate their progress. Success is not meant to be a solitary journey. It is amplified when shared with others who challenge, support, and uplift you. Rohn made it clear that the ripple effect of positive influence is massive, and those who embrace it can transform not only their own lives, but also the lives of everyone around them. He also emphasized the power of perspective. Life will always present obstacles, disappointments, and setbacks, but it is how you interpret these events that matters most. Millions were touched by his reminder that every challenge is an opportunity in disguise, every failure a lesson, and every difficulty a chance to grow stronger. The difference between those who thrive and those who falter lies in their ability to see beyond the immediate problem and focus on the long-term growth it can provide. Rohn's philosophy empowered people to adopt a mindset that embraces challenges, learns from them, and converts adversity into advantage. It instills resilience, patience, and a refusal to be defeated by temporary setbacks. Another aspect that resonated deeply with millions is his insistence that happiness and success are byproducts of personal growth, not external acquisition. Many people chase money, fame, or recognition, thinking these will bring fulfillment. Jim Rohn reminded them that lasting happiness comes from becoming a person of value, integrity, and wisdom. When you cultivate yourself, improve your skills, strengthen your character, and live in alignment with your principles, success naturally follows. This truth inspired millions because it reframed achievement from a distant goal into a natural outcome of personal transformation. It made success attainable not through luck or shortcuts, but through consistent effort, self-awareness, and growth-oriented choices. Jim Rohn's advice also touched millions because it gave them hope and agency. He reminded people that they are not prisoners of circumstance, that they are not defined by past failures, and that they have the capacity to shape their future in extraordinary ways. By embracing personal responsibility, cultivating discipline, seeking growth, and taking consistent action, they can achieve outcomes far beyond what they once imagined. This message resonated globally because it is universal, practical, and empowering. It provides clarity in times of confusion, motivation in times of stagnation, and guidance in times of uncertainty. In essence, this advice struck a chord with 20 million people because it revealed the profound truth that the real power in life is internal. It is in the choices we make, the habits we develop, the mindset we adopt, and the discipline we exercise. It is in the courage to face challenges, the commitment to grow every day, and the understanding that success is a reflection of who we become rather than what we acquire. Millions were touched because it is both a call to action and a promise. Transformation is possible, greatness is attainable, and the life you dream of is within your reach if you are willing to become the person capable of achieving it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's pause for a moment and imagine something together. Imagine standing at the edge of your life as it is today, looking out at the vast horizon of possibilities. What do you see? Do you see limitation, obstacles, and setbacks? Or do you see a world that responds to your courage, your choices, and your daily actions? Jim Rohn would ask you this. If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned?